If you know anything about me, you know that I prefer to be in the background instead of the spotlight. But for years I noticed that less and less people, especially younger people, including myself, were speaking less and less Garifuna. I also noticed that there was not a lot of digital form of learning the language, including a digital form of the dictionary, the People's Garifuna Dictionary. Whenever I search for the meaning of a word, first of all, I needed to find where to get a hard copy of the dictionary. So I reached out to a friend to ask where to buy one. I found out and I bought one, and I had to flip through the pages in order to find the translation of a word, whether it was from English to Garifuna or Garifuna to English. So then I thought, why can't the dictionary be digital? Why isn't it not available digitally so that the words are easier to find and they're more accessible? Why is there not an app that is widely available on platforms such as the Google Play Store and the App Store? So I started working on a concept of creating an app that includes elements of learning the Garifuna language, including the dictionary. Next, I started to work on a business plan, and I got a quote from an app developer to create an app. Next, I needed to generate all the elements for the app, such as the audio and the visual elements. And another part was I needed to figure out the funding. So both were like roadblocks, I had to figure that out. And then the pandemic hit. And this was a time when, we were all forced to pause, to reflect on what was, what is, and what will be, or what could be. So my direction changed. I created a Facebook page for Gari-On to bring attention towards the learning and the speaking of the Garifuna language through creative ways, such as creating Garifuna word graphic. For example, you would have the English word love, Love, a line under it, almost like it's underlined, and then the Garifuna translation, ECA. And I also thought, well, why not put it on a t-shirt? So I started creating designs to put on a t-shirt, and then I thought, well, what more can I do to bring more attention towards the learning and the speaking of the Garifuna language? So I thought of Gari-On Talks, which was started earlier in 2024. But this really came to a head when I lost two very important family members. And I was like, life is short, life is precious. If you have a dream or a goal, go for it. It's now or never. So I decided to started reaching out to family and friends to ask them specifically to connect me with specific people, so that I could speak to them about their lives and how the Garifuna language fits into their lives. And that's how Gari-On was born. And I was fortunate to have the first guest as Mohabab Flores. It was very scary and exciting to have a conversation with a music legend, and I was surprised at how open, kind, and down to earth he is, and of course his great sense of humor. Sereme Mohabab Flores, thank you for your willingness, your kindness, and your advice. As you know, many guests followed, and I want to thank each guest for their willingness. Thank you for sharing. Serme. And with each episode, my motivation, my confidence, my creativity grew. And I feel blessed to have this opportunity and to be given this gift. And I see it as a gift. All the hours spent editing videos and posts for social media, such as YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's both fun and grueling at times, but through this experience or these experiences, I was able to learn a lot, and the journey continues. And I plan to continue to explore more creative ways to learn and also teach you the Garifuna that I've learned and the Garifuna that I know. And of course, continue to bring you Garifuna people's voices and experiences. The ultimate achievement would be to be able to find a way to make the language more accessible online, and it would be in visual form, written form, and audio form, and it will be readily viewable, interactive, and continually engaging to youths and young people and anyone else who would like to learn the Garifuna language. And I applaud all those who have or are continuing to fight to ensure that the Garifuna language and culture continues for the next generation. For all those who, whether it's through teaching classes, creating and performing dance groups, producing music, producing books, teaching music, posting on social media, holding cultural events, creating promotional items, hosting conferences, through community outreach and engagement, through radio station programming, creating products such as flags, t-shirts, and other memorabilia that help us feel more connected to our culture and our language, to organizations such as the National Garifuna Council, NGC, the Battle of the Drums Secretariat, the Euromay Project, and the Garifuna Language Commission, among others, who have and are continuing to make a big difference. I want to thank my niece for teaming up with me. She's the one who created the intro and the outro, and she also creates the covers and some of the posts to bring attention to the content, and attracting views and more followers and subscribers and likes and shares and all that, and also for her for sharing her thoughts and her ideas with how we could expand our social media outreach, and to my nephew for helping me realize this dream, by planting that seed, by telling me, Auntie Dorette, I want to learn Garifuna. Thank you to all my family and friends for their continued love and support, for your suggestion, your advice, and your words of wisdom. Thank you to all the supporters, whether you have viewed the videos or posts, commented, liked, shared, subscribed, or followed us on social media. For those who reached out, sent a message or a text, and say, or see me in person and say, I watched the show, I like the show, I like what you're doing, giving advice. Maybe you could do this, maybe you can say this, maybe you can do this instead. I appreciate that, I welcome that, much appreciated. To all my nieces and nephews and young people, this is for you. This is for you to learn more about the Garifuna culture and language, and people. And I hope that you also gain a greater appreciation for being Garifuna and are inspired to learn, share, and pass on the Garifuna culture and language. Thank you, Sarah May.